I've been everywhere around the world. Greetings from Somerville, ladies and gentlemen. Exciting times here. Now, before we even get going on this episode, my guest is Kaulana,
Yes.
which no one on this podcast, none of my listeners know or have met you. But they should have, because you were one of our very first guests on this podcast, and due to my technical ineptitude, I don't know if that's the right word. Yeah, you don't have to agree with me so quite readily, but true. I was not great at sound, and some would argue I am still not great at sound. However, that one of the early episodes we recorded with you, my fault, just didn't come out clearly, and so I am apologizing and having you back in the studio.
Oh, I love being back. It's fine.
Thank you for your willingness to come back and share, because you are a crazy world traveler. Not crazy, you're a world traveler. You are, you're an adventure seeker. You work. Some people live to work, other people work to live. Have you ever heard that expression?
Of course, yes.
I feel like you work to travel. Is that...
Yes.
Yeah.
I just love traveling.
You love traveling, and much like the first time we did this interview, you seem to tense up when I hit record. You just...
I don't know why.
What is wrong with you? You are so happy and jovial and fun and walking in here, and all of a sudden, you look like you're on a witness stand or something. You tense...
I've been there before, that's why.
You've been... See, do you see your posture? You've covered your body, you covered your mouth, you covered your... Loosen it up, baby. Yeah. You teach the hula. Get that hula bones going. All right. Well, you can see right there. You're recording well. Your chart is good. We can see your little lines, which means we can hear you. So, Kaulana, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I love this so much because you're a traveler. You avidly, passionately travel. You've been all sorts of places. To bring us from the beginning. Where are you from? Where did it all start for you?
Well, I was born and raised on Maui, the island of Maui.
Maui, which for our listeners who are in Jersey and whatnot, that is in Hawaii.
In Hawaii, yes. I guess. Yeah.
From Maui.
Yeah, from Maui, born and raised.
It's got to be fascinating because, I imagine there are... I think of Maui as obviously a vacation place, destination and everything. How many people are from Maui? What is the population?
Maybe like 250,000.
Okay.
Not that much.
250,000. Okay. It's like a large city, essentially. Yeah. Okay. So from Maui.
To Oahu, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I actually had to move away to the mainland on my last year of high school.
Really?
My dad accepted a job in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Salt Lake City, Utah. Yeah. From Maui to Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
How was that adjustment?
The adjustment wasn't that great. And in fact, my last year, I'm still talking about it. 20-something years later, I'm still talking about how mad I had to leave my last year of high school.
Yeah, well, that's difficult. All your friends, your whole life is in Maui. And then all of a sudden, boom, 1 year in Salt Lake.
1 year in Salt Lake, and then I headed for the hills. I went to Europe.
You went to Europe?
Out of here. I didn't like Salt Lake City. I wanted to be out of there.
Now, was this your first trip, or was this for school?
I went over for school, definitely. But before I went over to Europe, after I graduated high school, I actually went down to Australia.
Okay.
Me, some buddies, and my brother just wanted to get away. Ended up in Sydney. Did not know what we were going to do for housing or food.
You're talking like you're 17, 18 years old?
Yeah, 18 years old.
18, just jumped on a plane.
I was out of here. I
really?
did not want to be in Salt Lake City anymore.
Wow, okay. Now, that's interesting because I am actually, as we speak, planning a trip to Australia with my girlfriend. We are talking about going next year. We're nervous. We're excited. We've been reading everything, and I've been reading about it for 2 months, and I still don't feel like I've even come close to digesting where to go, what there is to do. I haven't got a sense for everything. You just got on a plane with no clue?
No clue
and
what
no
to
hotel,
do. No hotel, nothing.
Did you have any money?
We made our money while we were there.
You met... Doing the hula?
Yeah, well... yeah, I mean, my brothers and I, we were musicians, so we were jamming out in the street.
Is that right?
Hat out. We would,
Where did you sleep your first night?
First night, honestly, I do not remember, but I do believe it was at some kind of park.
Oh my, like
Yeah.
little, like just outside.
Just right outside.
Oh my
Down
goodness.
in one of the parks, and then the beaches was our next thing. We wanted just to hit at the beaches, be homeless for a couple months, and then we got a good idea. Why don't we just buy a Volkswagen van? Use that as our transportation and our housing.
So back up. You for a few months you said.
A few months.
Few months. You were going for a few months to live wherever, sleep wherever, play some music, to make some money to eat. And this was
Mainly to drink.
to drink. Okay. Okay. And this was going well for you. You were, I mean, because I know me. One, if I have a delayed flight, I want a 5-star hotel. I can't imagine just like you're just that's okay with you, huh? Just out and roughing it.
Roughing it. I just wanted to be away from Utah.
Who
I
are
was
you
happy.
with?
I was with my brother and two of our very closest friends.
Oh, you
at the
really
time.
hated Utah, huh?
Yeah, we wanted to be adventurous. We were all out of high school, wanting to do something new. And Australia is where we could drink at 18.
Okay. That is commitment to really wanting to booze. Now, were you a big partier in high school before you went? Because Salt Lake, I don't even know. Do they have alcohol? Do they? What are they? And I know they have a lot of rules.
They have a lot of rules. And honestly, we just took a drive to the border of Evanston, Wyoming to get the real stuff.
Is that right?
It was only
Okay.
an hour and a half away.
Okay. This is
To
all
get the real stuff.
all underaged. Don't worry, the cops are not listening to this podcast. I don't know if anyone's listening to this podcast, so don't you worry in the least.
Yeah.
So you flew to Australia for 6 months to drink, and you decided to live in a van?
Live in a van. Why not? It was a good... It's almost like hippie
A good
style.
what? What's the end of that sentence?
I don't know. It just hit everything for us. It was our transportation. It was a place we could sleep. And
You slept and lived and drove and partied in the... What did it smell like?
It was not very good. 4 young teenagers, basically, driving around the place. We took showers at the beaches
Wow.
at night. Hopefully that nobody saw us naked
Man,
outside,
oh.
but we didn't care. We were young and dumb.
That is, it's wonderful. Was
Yeah.
there any problems? Was there any, bad people floating around? Do you ever, late at night, someone's trying to get into your van, or?
There are questionable things, but
Yeah.
we all
Okay.
managed it. It was
Man,
fun.
oh man, how long in total did you do this?
We were out there for actually a little over 4 months.
4
I
months.
think it's 4 months that we did it, yeah. And we bought the van at a certain price, and then when we left Australia, we sold it for $500 more than we paid
Are you
for
kidding
it.
me? Wow.
To some other young group of 4.
Oh my goodness gracious! A thorough cleaning before, I'm sure. No
they didn't.
Man, oh man. That van could speak. Boy, that's some stories. So was that your first big trip then as a traveler?
By myself, or
Okay.
not with the parents.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you traveled because your dad worked in...
My father was a captain for a major airline, Delta.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So he was always traveling.
Always traveling, and I reaped the spoils as well.
I was going to say, does that mean you could jump on a flight with him or do the standby?
It's
Or
like catching a bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do wherever you want to
My
go.
favorite thing in high school, I had a paper that was due on the Louvre in Paris, and my father's main routes was Paris, Amsterdam, Honolulu, and Tokyo.
You're kidding me.
So instead of not having internet at the time we went to high school, we had to go to the library, couldn't even check out the reference books. So I just hopped the plane with my dad to Paris.
That
Delta paid for 3 nights of our hotel, and I ran through the Louvre.
is amazing. That's beyond fun. You got to write about the Louvre. Let's go see it.
Yeah,
Did your
let's go see
parents?
it.
I mean, your teacher even believe you?
Actually, this is the worst part. When I turned in the paper, I got a failing grade because I couldn't provide a bibliography.
Stop. Should have shown her your plane ticket.
Actually, I went home and showed my dad the paper, and he went back the next day with my plane ticket, my entrance ticket to the Louvre, and all of my pictures.
Is that right?
Yeah, in your face.
And
Mrs. Vadrine.
did we change? Man, oh man. Well, let's hope she doesn't listen to the podcast either. The authorities, they're all going to be coming after us. What did the grade get changed?
It did get changed.
Is that
Yes.
to what?
A B plus.
Okay.
Not a full A, but a B plus.
Man, oh man, that's commitment to the cause. All right. Speaking of, you did another trip, which is one of my favorite stories. You were hungry.
I was hungry.
And
yes, I was. I'm always hungry.
As am I. I know a little about it. Tell my listeners what you did, because this cracks me up.
So I had a credit with a certain airline, let's say Delta, I guess. I forgot that I had this credit, and then when I was purchasing a flight to go somewhere, they told me I had this credit, and so I needed to use it within the next couple of days, or else I would lose out on it.
Okay.
So I went to my parents. I thought, well, what do I do with all this money? I don't want Delta to just take the money. I should use it. So my mom and dad actually said, well, what are you hungry for? You hungry for pasta? Fly to Italy. You hungry for sushi? Go to Japan.
I love it.
So I went to Japan. I wanted sushi.
Oh, my
Got off the
goodness.
plane, ate my sushi, spent a couple hours, came right back.
You came right back?
Well, I spent like a day or two.
That is hysterical. Going to Japan for dinner.
Yeah, why not?
Oh my goodness. You're right. Why? I mean, you worked that hard. You got those miles, or you got those credits. Yeah, you don't just give them up.
Nope.
Now, you must have a ton of miles, I would think, or a ton of built up credits or whatever.
I do.
Yeah.
I always try to stick with one major airline so I can accrue my flight points and whatnot.
Okay.
And usually it works out because
Yeah.
I never sit in the back of the plane anymore.
I bet you're always not a fancy VIP now. Yeah, absolutely. So you travel nicely, or at least you fly well.
Mm-hmm.
But then from there, are you generally, since the Australia van days, are you still a rough and tumble, rough it kind of guy, or do you like a nice hotel or a 5-star?
So I like to mix it up, honestly. It
All
depends on who I'm traveling with. If I'm traveling with someone I want to impress, of course I'm going to spend a little bit more money and, over the water bungalows and whatnot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll spend a little bit more money on that.
Man, oh man! I
It's
wish
just-
you wanted to impress me. I could use a bungalow.
Actually, that was almost a mess up for me too, because I was so excited to be there, and I wanted to get out and do stuff.
Where were you?
We were in Fiji.
Fiji. Oh, in one of those amazing, like out in the middle of nothing. Oh
Yeah,
God, you were in
correct.
one of those
I
bungalows.
was in one of those bungalows.
How
It
was that?
Absolutely gorgeous.
Oh,
Gorgeous. And I was excited to go out and do stuff. And I guess she was a little jet lagged, and she didn't want to wake up. And I was like, "You got to the count of 3 to get up." And she didn't get up. So I counted 1, 2, 3. Opened the sliding door right next to the bed and flipped her into the lagoon.
what? What? You took
I thought vacation was over at that point.
you took a lady friend to Fiji, had her in one of those bungalows over the water, gave her the count of 3 to get out of bed after a long flight, and flipped her into the water.
She woke up.
That is
The
unbelievable.
trick.
This is, what happened from there? How many days were you supposed to spend together?
We were spending 9 days total.
And this was day 1?
This was day, I think, 2 or 3. Yeah.
Oh my
I
goodness.
thought it was over after that.
I
but
would think it was. Was it not?
No,
Why?
because we were in Fiji. and-
But she didn't know when to get home.
She
That
had
was.
no
What did she say?
Well, I mean, she had her words with me from the water while I was laughing from the cottage.
Oh,
But it was
my-
fine. I mean, we worked it out.
Are you still in touch with this woman to this
No.
day? No. No.
No, not at all.
Have not spoken. Okay. Well, that's okay. So you're a bit of a romantic. I didn't know it's not all backpacks and peeing at the beach. It's you can do it right then. Do it up.
Do it up. If I
Okay.
wanted to, yeah.
Oh, what do you generally travel with someone else, or you prefer alone?
I actually prefer alone.
Yeah.
Because I do whatever I want,
Yeah.
whenever I want.
Yeah.
I can sleep in if
Yeah.
I want. I want to get up and do some hiking, do some diving.
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm not going to wait for nobody.
That's well. There's a lot to be said for that. And if you're used to it and you like to do, you just not have to consider somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, as I see, I travel a lot for work by myself, but in general, I do know that general I just want to go when I want. I want to eat when I want. I want to But it also can get lonely. You're just like, boy, sometimes would be nice to have company. But then you have company and you flipper in the water. So maybe it's best for you to be alone.
Yeah, exactly. Well, honestly, like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I can find people anywhere. I can talk to anybody anywhere, and so I never feel like I'm actually alone when I'm out there in the world by myself.
Well, that is nice, and that when you are a very affable person, a very open, cordial, friendly smile, welcoming way about you, I would say.
I can turn that off though.
You can. Well, thankfully, I haven't seen the dark side.
No,
yes, our rooms are not far from each other here. I'm gonna make sure I'm locked up at night. You come in. Who knows? You'd be flipping my mattress. But no, that is a great way to meet new people, because I guess when you're by yourself, you meet a lot of new people. Then I have one of my favorite trips I did. I was when I first started doing what I do now, comedy, and had left my regular day job. I had a bad breakup, and had to slow work. Nothing was really happening. I just tried to get into this business, and I had a bunch of time off. And I had a cousin who lived over in France, in Paris at the time. And my parents said, "Why don't we give you an early Christmas gift? This is coming into December, and so why don't you go somewhere? Just you're frustrated, you're mad, you're not thrilled with things in general. Go somewhere for a bit." So I emailed my cousin, and by chance she was leaving for the month, but she's like, "You can have the apartment for the month. Come on." So I flew to Paris and by myself, and I'll never forget, it was one of the most fun months I've ever had, because I didn't know anyone. To your point, we'd go out, I'd get a beer at a bar, I'd talk to a bunch of old men eating, watching soccer or whatever it was, and it wound up being exactly that, rather than just me and someone going, "Where are we going to eat tonight, where are we going to do this and that." It was just me looking around, and I would get on a subway, and I would just like take it to some stop and not know. In retrospect, I would read about some of the stops, and I should not have been getting off at some of them. But,
afterwards,
yeah. But anyway, I can see how that, and then I travel with someone. It's always about, where are we going for dinner? Where are we going home?
Exactly.
What are we? Yeah.
And for me, when I'm traveling with somebody else, I'm only concentrating on both this person and I.
Yeah.
And I'm not open to everybody else.
Absolutely.
And people see that we're traveling together as a couple or even a good friend,
sure,
so they leave us alone.
And they don't bother with you. Yeah, and that makes sense. Yeah. No, sometimes that is nice, but other times it's like, no, you want to meet the locals. You want to meet some. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you have a dream trip? Do you have an ultimate place that you've always wanted to go and never have, or just a length of time, a year around the world? Is there anything that's on your bucket list?
So, to be completely honest, I've been everywhere I've already wanted to go.
That's incredible. How many countries would you estimate? How many trips have you done?
So, in all of my passports,
wow,
I have 133 different countries under my belt.
133 different countries.
Yeah, I know there's people out there who have more, but
that's okay.
Yeah.
Do you know how many countries there are in the world?
It changes every year, actually.
Does it really?
It does.
Do we add and subtract?
It's like 180, 190 about there. Yeah,
wow. So you have been literally to like 2/3 or more of the countries
the world,
that exist.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's really hard because you have to kind of play with visas and whatnot. If you get a stamp from here, you kind of go to these countries and whatnot. So I had to play that game for a little bit.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
But I just love returning back to Southeast Asia. I just love being out there. The people are so friendly. The food is excellent. I'm a big boy. I like to eat sushi and all that kind of.
Where is your favorite place in Southeast Asia? Do you have a country you love most, or?
Well, I do like going to Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka's beautiful.
Okay.
Medusa Beach down south, Kandy area.
Okay.
I also love Thailand.
Yeah, Thailand. So, that is high on my list as well, Thailand, and I will get there. And I understand it's fairly inexpensive once you're there, right?
Once you're there, it's very inexpensive. I can get full, literally, in the streets after $1.
Are you kidding me?
For like $1
for a buck you can eat.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope my girlfriend's listening to this, because
go to the food.
Yeah, she got a quote today on a Thailand trip that was a lot more than $1 a day.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that's what I thought. You get there, and once you're there, it's like free, basically. Yeah.
It's so cheap, and you can get drink your way through it too. It's a lot cheaper.
Is that right? I bet it would be. Now you have to worry about water in certain places.
Yeah, everything's bottled water.
Okay.
There's a 7-Eleven at every corner.
Is that right? 7-Eleven in Thailand?
Everywhere, all over the place.
Does that break your heart a little when you see that?
Starbucks is there too, McDonald's,
Ah,
KFC.
See, now I go back and forth on that because part of me, you love to travel and get away from all of that, but at the same time, you know you're probably getting a consistent quality product. You know, like if you buy a bottle of water from 7-Eleven, it's probably going to be a good bottle of water. A cup of coffee from Starbucks, I count on. Do you have that like?
Well, after being away and eating other foods, which I love ethnic foods, and the spicier the better for me. I love it. But every once in a while, you crave a little bit something from home.
It's a little home.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
You miss home a little bit, and yeah, unfortunately, sometimes it comes in by way of McDonald's, but it's okay.
I know that feeling well, and again, as someone who travels a lot for work, I know that just little homesickness sometimes, just to see a familiar McDonald's arches or something, like, okay, that's a little grounding, a little, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh man. Well, what is your next adventure? What's coming up?
Oh, actually, so I leave in 3 weeks, and I go back to Indonesia and Thailand. Actually,
Really?
Yeah.
In 3 weeks?
In 3 weeks' time, I leave the ship, and right after the holidays, I go over to
Fabulous.
Southeast
For
Asia.
how long?
So I have 3 months off. I just know that I'm flying into Bali and I'm flying out of Bangkok.
That is
Just have to figure my
fabulous.
way how to get to Bangkok.
Fly to Bali, out of Bangkok, and whatever happens in between.
I don't make any plans.
If you rent a van,
I don't have any places booked. I have nothing. I have no idea
that is
what I'm doing.
And you're going alone?
I'm going alone. I'm going to meet up with a friend in Thailand somewhere. Just
Awesome.
because he lives there. And yeah, just go on from there.
I think that is so cool, man. I love that. How do you do on that long first flight when you first get in? Do you have a hotel for that night prepared? Do you have how long does it take you to adjust? Because it sounds like a long flight.
So there are times where, of course, I'll pamper myself, and that's usually the first flight getting in.
Yeah.
I have a nice place to stay, and my last flight before last
you
hotel
go.
before I leave.
Okay.
I just have to refresh. If I want to slum it through the rest, I just bring baby wipes, wipe the important parts.
That's your shower? Some baby wipes?
Sorry. In some places.
I'm not sure if we're still talking
No. I mean, I'll rough it here and there, but it depends. Especially when I'm over in Asia, it's so much cheaper out there.
Yeah.
That $40 you can get. That's a lot. A really nice hotel, actually.
Is that right for $40?
$40.
Oh.
Maybe go $20. It's still a nice place.
Really? Yeah. And sometimes that's all you need. It just feels good. You got a place to put, a bathroom, shower, this and that. Yeah.
I stayed in places for $4. So
$4. Good Lord.
It depends.
Well, I guess when you started out in a van in Australia with 3 other dudes, like anything else feels like a promotion.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I look forward to seeing more of your travels. I thank you so much, by the way, for taking the time yet again to enlighten us. And may I say that once I called you out, you blossomed like a flower.
Yeah, you
did. and you're open, and this is way better than our first interview anyway.
Really?
Oh my goodness gracious! Absolutely, you were like a scared little child in that first one.
I was. Yeah.
And I'm better at it now too. I've been doing this 2 years, so I like to think that I add a little something to the party. But Kaulana, thank you so much, and to our listeners, this is Greetings from Somerville. I thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Try to track this guy down wherever he may be.